I don't know the national anthem of my country. What? I do not know the national anthem of my country.
I left Zimbabwe as a child, and for over 2 decades it existed for me through stories, through photographs, and through memories that weren't fully mine. In 2026, a series of unexpected invitations brought me home and into a diaspora community I'd never really been part of before. This is Mwana Wevhu. It's stories of the land and the people shaping its future. Along the way, I'll be speaking to the people who know this land best, sharing what I find, learning the culture, the history, and the heart of where I'm from. Because the land has its own stories to teach if we're willing to listen. I'm not documenting this as an expert, I'm learning in real time, right alongside you. This is Mwana Wevhu, stories of the land and stories of the people.
Welcome to Mwana Wevhu. This is a documentary storytelling platform where I am going on a journey learning about the culture, the land, and the stories of my people and my Zimbabwe. And I thought, I've been learning about Zimbabwe and what it really means to be a Zimbabwean who was born in Zimbabwe, but for the last 27 years plus has been living in the diaspora and specifically the United Kingdom. And I've spent the 2026 really learning about what does it actually mean to be Zimbabwean, and not through the stories of other people or just hearing about stories from the past, but what does it mean to be an adult on their journey to exploring what it means to be proudly, ever so proudly, Zimbabwe. And I thought, I'm not going to keep this to myself. I'm going to take you all on a journey, and this might help my fellow brothers and sisters. So let's learn together. And this first episode really is about documenting me and my journey. I've done videos in the past of what does it mean to be Zimbabwean and sharing my story. But if you haven't watched those videos, a brief summary: I came to the United Kingdom with my parents and my family when I was 5, and I've been here ever since. And I shared about the disconnect sometimes between living between two worlds, living in the United Kingdom but also being Zimbabwean, eating the foods from home but also having to adjust and acclimatize to what it means to be the best of both worlds, but also not losing that connection between Zimbabwe. And Mwana Wevhu really means child of the soil. So I'm sharing stories of what it means to be a child of the soil, stories of other people. I've interviewed farmers, I've done a lot, and you're going to get to see on this platform. So if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, because I have so much in store for you. And please do press the notification bell, so when a video does come out, you will be the first to watch. So for those who want to invest back home, who want to learn about back home, this is a platform for you. So welcome again to Mwana Wevhu, where we're exploring the stories of the land and stories of the people. So I had the absolute pleasure of opening my email one day, and I was in London, and I opened this email and I was really quite surprised, and I'm going to read it to you as I find it. And it reads: on the occasion of the 46th independence celebrations, His Excellence Ambassador Colonel Retired C.M. Katande and Mrs. S. Katande request the honor of the company of Rodnan Tabani on Friday the 24th of April 2026 from 1600 hours to 2100 hours, the venue being the Embassy of the Republic of Zimbabwe. And then it says the address, and the dress code is formal national address. So I got the absolute honor of being invited to the Independence Day celebrations in Zimbabwe. I have never been to anything like this, and I had never, ever even, I'd never even thought about it. I didn't even know they had celebrations. So I got the invitation and I was so excited. When I say excited, I was so excited. I was like, I called my mom who lives in Zimbabwe, and I said, right, I need an outfit that is national dress, because I didn't have any national dress. Got it made, it didn't come in time. However, it is fine. I attended the event, and I remember traveling to London and being so excited just to be in a room full of Zimbabweans. And it's something really small, but if you have lived in the diaspora and you're amongst the minority a lot of the time, it means something really powerful to be amongst your own people, whether that's at a party or at a function. But the official invite of getting to celebrate Zimbabwean independence, the 46th Zimbabwean independence, with Zimbabweans at the Zimbabwean Embassy. Ah, I was excited. I was so excited just to see what happens there and who the people are, and celebrating, taking a moment to acknowledge and celebrate that even though we are outside of Zimbabwe, we are still Zimbabwean and we still celebrate and embrace being Zimbabwean. So that meant a lot. And I remember just attending, because I attended by myself. I attended, and everybody was wearing, I was wearing a pink dress, but everyone, other people were wearing their national dress or wearing African attire. There was Zimbabwean music playing, Thomas Mapfumo was in the background, you had Oliver Mtukudzi in the background, people were speaking Shona. And again, if you live in the United Kingdom or live anywhere in the diaspora, just to hear people speaking your language, you are like, ah, I'm home. Hearing people speak Shona, and yeah, it felt like home. It really, really felt like home. And in that time, it just made me really appreciate being Zimbabwe even more. One of the things that I learned while I was in that room is how much people love being Zimbabwean, how much people embrace being Zimbabwean, and how much pride there was. There was the there was the flag, and there was Zimbabwean food. Like, we ate takajika msuyo, takajika sadza, takajika, there was mazondo, muriwo, mabonzo. There was a lot on display. There was maheu, and yeah, there was it was decorated really nicely in Zimbabwean national theme to really celebrate. And then there came the time where the ambassador did the welcome speech and did the opening speech, and he was just sharing some of the things that are happening in Zimbabwe at the moment, and he was sharing the vision and just really encouraging the people that were in that room that Zimbabwe is still very much important and we need to be united as Zimbabweans living in the UK.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite His Excellency Colonel Retired Christopher Tsani, Ambassador of the Republic of Zimbabwe to the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, to deliver the independence speech. Ambassador Tsani.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. Our diaspora cluster leaders and professional business practitioners from all sectors, religious leaders, members of the Zimbabwe diaspora community, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Zimbabweans, welcome to Zimbabwe House. It is both an honor and a privilege to address you today.
But one thing that threw me off, and this was more so a personal thing for me, that completely threw me off, is before he even started the address. And I'd never even thought about it. I don't know. It had never crossed my mind. Is everybody was standing there, and I think I'll include some of the pictures and the videos. Everybody was standing there, and we're all gathered around, and it came time to sing the national anthem. Everybody proudly, with their hands on their chest, singing the national anthem. The tune came, and in that moment I realized I don't know the national anthem. And I was standing there like, I don't know the national anthem. I don't know the national anthem of my country. What? I do not know the national anthem of my country. So I was now thinking, I've heard the tune before, but I've never been exposed anywhere. I've never gone anywhere where the national anthem was playing. I know the national anthem of the UK because I've had to sing it. But in that moment, one of the things that crossed my mind was like, oh, are you really Zimbabwean? My guy, are you really Zimbabwean? And I looked around and everybody was proudly singing. And I was like, I don't even know the words. And in that moment, I realized that as much as I have been on a journey to learn and to know more about what it means to be Mwana Wevhu and what it means to be Zimbabwean, I still had a very long way to go, because something as small and as simple as the national anthem, I couldn't have told you. Man, that hit me. And I remember just messaging on the group chat with my family, like, guys, I don't know the national anthem, and they're singing it. And I felt so embarrassed in that moment. But then I realized I've never had to know the national anthem. It's not something that was even a thing growing up. Why would I need to? Where would I have even learnt it when I was 4 in Zimbabwe? Like, you know. Safe to say, I left that venue very determined, or determined, as us Zimbabweans say. I was determined to learn the national anthem. And that is part of the learning process, is being intentional that, yes, I'm Zimbabwean, yes, Mwana Wevhu, yes, all of these things. However, there are certain things that as an adult, I'm having to choose to learn and put myself around and immerse myself in. And sometimes that's really sitting in the discomfort of, okay, there are some things that I don't know and I'm going to have to know. I was now messaging people who I know have grown up here, like, hey, do you guys know the national anthem for Zimbabwe? And some were able to hum the tune, some were able to sing little bits, some said no. And that exposed a gap in itself, that yes, we are Zimbabwean, but actually we as diasporans, or certainly me and a few others that I know, still have a lot to learn. And that's the importance of actually just sharing information. Because I was now asking my parents, how come you've never taught me the national anthem? But it's not something that you think about. It's not something that you're exposed to. If you're not, and I don't know where people learn the national anthem. Maybe it's in schools in Zimbabwe. I don't know. But it's not something that was there. So again, it's something intentional that I'm now having to teach my children, that this is the Zimbabwean national anthem. And this is something that you have to know. Culture is not something that, it's something that we pass on, but there's an intentionality to it. And if we don't pass it on, and we're not intentional about passing on the music, we're not intentional about passing on this, the things like the national anthem to our children, they will get lost. And then you'll have a generation who have no idea what these things are, even though they grew up in the environment. But it has to take teaching these things. So I ask you, my fellow Zimbabwean parents, my mothers and fathers, wanatete, wanabamnini, wanabamkuru, wanasekuru, wanampuya, how many of you have actively taught your children, if they're not living in Zimbabwe, even if they live in Zimbabwe, how many of you have taught your children the national anthem? Something really basic. Or maybe I should ask, do you know the national anthem? Or is it just me who was extremely shocked that I didn't know the national anthem? So back to the day. So other than that, outside of the shock of the national anthem, which I went home and studied. Man, I studied that national anthem. And good job I did, because the next video you're going to see is I was in the congregation when I had to sing this national anthem. In the next video, I am thrown into the deep end, and I have to, in front of a whole group of people, I'm in front introducing the national anthem to a room where there are ministers and delegates and official people.
Let us welcome Honorable Kimuka Machakaire.
Do I sink or do I swim? You will see in the next part of this video of Mwana Wevhu. So let me know in the comments below, what does it mean for you to be Mwana Wevhu? What does it mean to be a child of the soil? What does it mean for you in terms of your culture and your identity? I will see you in the next episode.